impressionist? Thanks for coming. Being the last slot of the day on a Sunday, I was worried no one was going to show up. So thank you. This is a better turnout than I expected. So you're very sweet.
With any show, you have the openers, then you have the headliners.
Okay, come on now. Come on now.
You know what was missing? Not enough Warriors of Virtue in that reel.
That is true. Anybody see that? Warriors of Virtue?
There we go.
Back in 1990 something? Yeah. Oh, there's one person. Thank you, sweetie. That was a kangaroo kung fu fighting movie. I was a kangaroo twice in my career, Tanner. Did you know that? Yeah. I've been a fish man twice. One was missing from this reel too, about the shape of water. It could be a man.
That is incredible.
My kangaroos. I was a kangaroo man in Warriors of Virtue and Tank Girl. Anybody?
So when fans approach you at the table of photo ops and you meet fans, are you often reminded of things that you've done that maybe you've forgotten about? I feel like you've done so much. How do you keep it all straight?
Well, I've been acting for 33 years, so there's a lot I've forgotten by now because of the length of my career and my age. I'm forgetting a lot of things now. Somebody came by with a DVD cover for John Dies at the End. Right? Anybody else? I don't know a quirky, lovely indie film that I love doing, based on the book by the same title. And yes, someone came by with a DVD cover for The Newly Dead. Exactly. Is that you? Yeah.
Yeah, called her up.
That was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever done. I shouldn't be talking about it now, should I? No, I'm going to look it up. The Newly Dead. What? Yeah, I was young, I needed the money.
I think for a lot of us, some of your favorite work was in the Guillermo del Toro era, which is continuing. When did that first start with you two? When did you guys first meet?
We met over 20 years ago, in 1997. He had filmed Mimic up here in Toronto, and the movie was about to come out in 3 weeks, and they needed to fill in some what they call pickup shooting. They needed some extra scenes and extra images that would make the scene flow better. So they needed their bud guy, because anyone remember Mimic, the giant cockroach just took over the New York subway system, which is possible. So
that was a documentary.
No, it wasn't. Yeah. So the tall, skinny fellow who played the cockroach guys in Toronto was a Canadian. Of course, they're doing the reshoots in Los Angeles. So they would have had to get the work permit, the flights, the hotels. So what easier option do we have? So out comes the tall, skinny guy Rolodex. And so I got a call. And hey Doug, are you free to come down to downtown LA tonight and do a night shoot? I'm like, out of work actor? Yes, I'm free. So I knew nothing about the movie, knew nothing about the director, and so that was Guillermo del Toro's first American studio film. He had done Kronos before that, and a lot of television, a lot of short films, a lot of his own creature makeups and things in Mexico before that, but I did not know of this. So I'm just down there kind of doing a gig, so they called me, so I guess I'll show up and be a bug guy. So I'm standing on the edge of a 3-story brick building in downtown Los Angeles with this kind of bug-like mask on and a trench coat that looked kind of like wings, sort of, hence the name Mimic. I was a bug mimic human, so very creative title. So I'm on the edge of this building, I'm kind of leaning over, and there's a rain machine hitting me in the head, and that's all they needed, because it was just a film, right? No big deal, right? And apparently, the reason I got the call at the last hour was that they had tried this the night before, and they went through an extras casting agency just to find something, because they were trying to save money, right? Okay. So they got some background actor fella to come in, and apparently, here, let me show you. So the guy they got was standing at the edge of the building, like I'm at the edge of the stage right now. I probably shouldn't be. Would you have insurance? First of all, in a freak stage accident, took his death. So he's standing at the edge of the building, and Guillermo was directing him. So lean from the ankles. So the guy goes, no, from the ankles. The guy goes, oh, okay. So he was like, yeah, thank you, good night. So the next day is when they brought me in, and I was a bit more expensive than an extra, apparently. So, okay, so then I just went, lead from the ankles, got it. So I just did this. Ah! So he thought I saved his life somehow.
So at this point, when you work with Guillermo, there's really no audition process. Does he call you and just say, hey, Doug, we're working again? Is that how it works?
That's how it works now, yeah. In fact, I've never auditioned for him ever before because that call for Mimic was a referral from the creature effects guys, right? The creature effects makeup artists are the ones who have really propelled my career forward because producers, directors often that are not Guillermo del Toro, they don't know the creatures as well maybe, or the making of them, or the performing of them. So they trust the guys who make the costumes and makeups. And so if the makeup people say, oh, you know, this tall, skinny alien creature, you really need Doug Jones for that. Usually the director goes, great, you know better than great, hire him. So that's how I've gotten a lot of my jobs. It's been a little bit too easy, right?
You deserve it though. You are so talented at what you do though. Agree? I also think it's about time you get the proper recognition for this. We gotta so please write to the Academy and everybody else. Start the Kickstarters online. Let's change that.
Thank you.
Well, how do you do it though? How do you play a character, maybe like a kangaroo or a fish man, when there's really no source material? Like how do you, a humanoid kangaroo character, what do you base that on?
Right, or
a fish or anything. Like,
Sure. Well, when you have an animal man hybrid, you have the real animal to maybe draw from. Like Abe Sapien for the Hellboy movies, I did watch fish, and I watched how their curious heads bobbed around, and their fins were kind of floating in the water like this. So I incorporated that into Abe's movement in his persona. But when I did the amphibian man from The Shape of Water, it's like, okay, I've done that already. I don't want him to move the same as Abe Sapien because there's going to be enough comparisons as it is. No, it is not a source. It is not an origin story. No, it's not a prequel, sequel. None of that. So they're different fishmen from different timelines, different worlds. So we wanted to make that distinction. So the amphibian man was more just some kind of. I had to just channel some sort of heroic, animalistic insights, and hopefully it worked. I don't know.
Amazing.
I hope so. Yeah, I think it did.
It worked.
I've never seen a fish man, but looking at that, I'm like, that's a fish man. So
if you bought it, then it may work.
And also interesting, I don't know if this is true or not, but with Abe Sapien, the first Hellboy, you did not do the voice, but that came
You
later.
had to bring that up.
No, but it's a cool story of how they they allowed you to really fully take over the character.
They allowed me, or you demanded.
Demanded. Okay.
Let's see.
I think you won them over. Really.
Okay. Thank you. In the first Hellboy, that was back when we were filming that in 2003, and I was not a name, and I was not recognized in public. None of that. David Hyde Pierce was. So in order to get his name on the marquee with the big names that were in the movie, I think that was a studio ploy to get for marketing. I totally understand. I tell you. And David Hyde Pierce is a fantastic actor with a great voice, a very distinctive voice. So it's a very long story. Let's see. But anyway, but I came into that job with that being a part of the deal. We already have been talking about having a celebrity voiceover for this character. And I was like, ooh. No actor wants to hear that, right? Because that means part of my performance will be taken away or replaced. And that, even if it's with someone as beautiful and wonderful as David Hyde Pierce, it's like, oh shoot. So I asked, can we not do that? And so my name was thrown into the pot of because they were considering other names as well, other famous people. And can I keep my voice in the mix until you make your final decision at least? Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. So I felt very good about what I did and everything, and I was even directed. Guillermo told me to sound like a mix of Niles Crane from Frasier, which is David Hyde Pierce, and throw in a little bit of Hal the computer from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Right? Okay. So I kind of affected that voice anyway. So by the time Hellboy 1 was finished, everybody loved what I did, but I got a call from Guillermo telling me that they were going to go ahead with David Hyde Pierce. It was a studio thing. Like, didn't you promise that? Everybody loved my voice. I asked him. I said, "Was this a performance issue? What can I learn from this? What can I do better next time?" No, you were great. You're perfect. Everybody loves you. We're going to have David Hyde Pierce. Okay. Okay. I understand. Okay. So, but then what would happen in the sound booth when David Hyde Pierce was brought in to voice over me? He heard my original performance in his ear as he's watching me on film, and he said, what am I doing here? Which is very sweet of him, right? Yeah. And so he kind of, he did the job he was hired to do, but when the movie came out, his name is not in the credits. If you watch Hellboy 1 again, you will not see him in the opening credits, you will not see him in the rolling credits. He took his own name out on purpose, and when asked why, he said it's out of respect to Doug Jones. Now, okay, David Hyde Pierce. All right. And he really did not have to do that. I would have, he earned every credit he would have gotten in that film. So that was just a step above and beyond. And so then what came next was the animated features, Hellboy, A Sword of Storms, and Hellboy, Blood and Iron. And they were just bringing all the voices back from the first movie. So crap, that meant David Hyde Pierce, right? But by then, they offered it to David Hyde Pierce, and he said, nope, not gonna do it. Wow, so then they just came to me, and I got the voice of Dave for the animated features, which was kind of the buffer zone between Hellboy 1 and Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, where it was my voice in its entirety. So, and hopefully the transition was smooth enough for all you guys. I hope we didn't joggle you too much with those two different voices, but you know, in the end, I think we sounded enough alike as it was, and I don't know. So I was just very happy to keep my whole performance intact in the second.
Great, that's amazing. That's
And it's all reversed.
You would totally dub over David Hyde Pierce.
Not any day, are you kidding me? David Schmaden, put my name in the credits, David.
Well, there's a lot of fans here today. I know we have a lot of audience questions as well, so we do have an aisle mic just over here. So if you have a question for Doug, you can line up, and maybe let's line up along the front so we're not blocking that section. There's a lot of people there, so apologies to the 3 people over there. There are some seats over here, but it's the best we can do. So, okay, you're raced to the mic already, so go ahead, sir.
Are you disappointed that they did not make a third Hellboy? And how do you like the reboot?
Oh, okay. In front of all these people, huh? No, thank you for asking. Disappointed, slightly, yes. We were all looking forward to hopefully finishing out a trilogy for all of you with that storyline that we started. But it was not to be for whatever reasons. And again, I was not a part of any of those discussions about Hellboy 3 being made or not made, or what budget it would cost, or whatever. That was all bigger people to talk about that. I did see the reboot, and I think David Harbour is fantastic as Hellboy. But the movie had a different feel to it than ours did, so it's just different. It doesn't have to be worse; it's just different. Yeah, thank you.
Not seen the new Hellboy, I will spoil it for you. See, at the end, I like to think that hand is your hand. Just saying.
Well, I know.
That's how it makes it okay for me.
Abe's hand does show up on a glass at the very end of that movie, but again, reboot means recasting, so don't count on me being in anything further. I don't.
It helps me sleep if I just think it's your hand.
Oh, thank you.
Go ahead.
Speaking of being a fish man, what are some challenges and workarounds of you being in prosthetics of water?
Oh yeah. Now in the first 2 Hellboy movies, I was not in water at all. If you saw me underwater, we were in a dry area with me going, and then they would add an effect in later. The one time I was in water in the entire 2 Hellboy movies there was a manhole cover that I dove into to go under when I had a big fight with Samael. When I came back up out of that manhole cover onto the tiles and the broken down subway, that I had to get in the water to come out of it. That's the only time I was in water in the entire thing. The glue held, everything was fine. That was great. I just had to do before the cameras were rolling and I heard action, and I went under, waited a second, and came up again. So that was pretty easy. Shape of Water was different, yes. Shape of Water, I had to spend more time in water, well, especially the laboratory with the pool in it. I was in that water for real, days on end, hours and hours a day. And I was thinking, okay, but it was shallow. I could stand in it, and it was fine. So, but then it was the bathroom scene when Sally Hawkins stuffs the towels under the door, and we flood the bathroom. That was the only scene that I knew was going to be shot underwater with real water and us in it. And we had to go through scuba training so that they could come save us if we were dying. Right, so we both learned how to breathe on those the respirators, and they actually rebuilt that bathroom scene in an 8-foot tank. So now 8 feet, I'm 6'3", so 8 feet is not that much above me. So it's like, okay, we didn't need the scuba people after all, but they were there for safety reasons. And basically, before the take, we'd be up at the ceiling of this building, or this set, going, and so and then we would plunge down, both Sally and I, and hold our breath. And Guillermo was on speakers underwater. Action! Right, so we hear, right? So we would do our little, and of course now we had to exhale or we would start floating, especially me because my rubber bits were very buoyant. So I had to exhale to make sure wasn't any more buoyant. And so now you've let all your air out and you're underwater. How terrifying might that be? Yeah. And then of course the suit has filled up with water, so even coming up out of it, it has to drain a little bit, and I gotta get out of my mouth before I can breathe again. So I thought, this will make a great story in the Hollywood Reporter when I'm dead. So, but we made it through fine. I'm alive today to talk about it, so it must have worked out. But what you don't know is that the final scene of the movie where we're floating happily ever after, and you see that the camera backs away and we're under the river. That was all shot in a dry studio, a big sound stage, filled with smoke, with a light effect rippling from the top of us. And then they added in some CG enhancements like her hair, because her hair was pinned back, and they had a fan blowing upward on her coat so it would have some flappy movement to it. And then they added in bubbles and more of a coating and whatnot in post-production. So I bought it. I thought I was underwater too. Yeah. So thank you for asking.
Thank you. Is that also you as well?
Yes, I danced in the shape of water.
Wow,
yes.
sir.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing, is that Guillermo del Toro has been known to call me the Fred Astaire of monsters. And so here we are doing a black and white, big musical number that looked very Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers-ish in that movie. So it was apropos, I thought.
And how many eggs did you eat by the end of production?
Again, like when Sally Hawkins gives me an egg in the laboratory there, and you see me go and suck it down real quick. I was holding a real egg, and then I would drop it. It would drop down there, and then they would CG the egg going in there later. Yeah, so it's the CG guys were amazing.
It was a party trick.
I know, a little party trick. Yeah, whole egg without chewing. That's me.
Yeah. All right, go ahead. What is your question?
Hi, Doug. Thanks for being here. You kind of stole my thunder a little bit when you mentioned John Dice at the end, because I wanted to ask you about it. I love Don Coscarelli. I wondered if you had any great stories about him, because I know he's real passionate, real crazy.
Yeah, Don Coscarelli is great. He's among my favorite directors now too. Don Coscarelli also directed the Phantasm movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great, right? I know. The funny thing was that he had been looking for my character, Roger North, from John Dice Band for a while. They shot the entire principal photography of that movie without that character cast yet. Now they're doing their pickup reshoots, and they needed to go back and get all the Roger North scenes, and because he couldn't quite find the right. And he had some named people, he auditioned unknown actors, and he had some names he was considering, and nobody quite clicked for him. One of the production assistants in the office had done a student film with me years before, right? And this is why I do student films, by the way, because those students grow up and they end up in the business somewhere. So he's a production assistant in the office, and he said, you know what, Don, what about Doug Jones? Don Coscarelli goes, call him! Yeah, so that's how John Dice Band happened for me. But I had so much fun working on that. What a quirky piece of love that was, right? And I think my line about masturbation was probably my favorite in the whole movie. Yeah, and trying to say that with a straight face too was we laughed a lot. Is what I'm going to say. Off camera, what you didn't see was us gut busting between takes.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. What's your question?
Hi, Doug, I just wanted to say first and foremost, me and my sister Molly, one of our personal favorites of yours is Hocus Pocus. We watched that movie.
Thank you.
I just want to go full, if you want to go full narcissist on this. What is your favorite performance of your own?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if people were to not know your work and only watch one thing, what do you think? Come on. What is it?
Again, after 33 years and 100 movie credits, I have no idea what.
Newly Dead.
The Newly Dead. Oh, yeah. Tim and the Newly Dead. Look it up. Because I have a handful of favorites, I think, and Billy from Hocus Pocus is absolutely one in that handful. Getting to play in a family-friendly, feel-good holiday movie, Halloween movie that plays every year, that's become like the Wizard of Oz of the modern day. It's one of those sit-down event movies that the family gathers for. And now we're a couple generations in now. I mean, people are showing their kids, now they're fans. I've never expected to be a part of a movie like that, so that's been the whole ride of Hocus Pocus has been amazing. We had our 25-year anniversary last year for that, and it got to be the TV special, which was on Freeform in the U.S. and I think ABC Family or whatever your channel aired. So just to celebrate that movie every year has been an unexpected delight for me. I think the Amphibian Man from The Shape of Water is among them as well because I played so many rubberized monsters in my career. To get to be a part of a romantic storyline with that, in that genre was unique and wonderful. And the ride that movie took me on too, with going to the Golden Globes, going to the Oscars with 13 nominations for the movie. That's an unparalleled experience for an actor to have, to go through that kind of critical acclaim and artistic merit. Also with Pan's Labyrinth, the Fawn, and the Tail Man, that was so memorable. And again, 6 Oscar nominations, I got to go that year as well. And I met Joan Rivers that year. Can I tell my Joan Rivers story? Can I? Oh, okay. Joan, remember Joan Rivers, right? Known for her plastic surgery, and she kind of created the red carpet experience. She was the one who made it a thing. Like the "Who are you wearing" thing was all Joan Rivers, right? So I knew, and I've been a fan of hers for years, and I thought, okay, if I ever get to the point where I'm on a red carpet being interviewed by Joan Rivers, I will have made it, right? 2007 at the Oscars with Pan's Labyrinth, Joan Rivers is there, and my publicist is like, Joan, I'd like to talk to you now. Shut up! It's going down. So now we were in a commercial break, right? So we weren't live on camera just yet, but the broadcast was live around the world. Okay, nervous. So Joan's like, oh, it's a good thing you got here early. I could talk, because when you're not a name, if Tom Hanks was behind me, she'd rather talk to him. But I got there early enough that night that I was the first for everybody. Yeah. So she had to talk to me. So her producer hands her a stack of cards that has all of the information for Pan's Labyrinth on it. They were all prepared for all the nominated movies. And so she's looking at the cards, and we're still in commercial break. This is not on the air. And she says, oh, how do you pronounce that? I looked at the card and I said, oh, Labyrinth. And she said, Labyrinth? Did you know that before the movie? I think a lot of us did, yeah. But then, when cameras come up live, and we're on the air, so she's asking all the questions I knew the answers to. I was prepared. I've been through all the press for this already. Boom, chicka boom. And then while I'm talking to her, her eyes kind of glaze over for a minute. Because she's got an earpiece in. She's listening to a producer off in the van somewhere, right, the production van. And she comes back and goes, she asks, you've worn a lot of crazy makeups over the years. Do you have any problems with the, irritations, allergies, anything like that? I said, well, Joan, thankfully, no, I've been very fortunate to wear lots of crazy, no allergy reactions or problems with their adhesives or removers or latex foam products or silicone products. Well, I said the words silicone products. And I'm looking at a face chock full of it, right? But she was fascinating in person, right? It's like, ting, ting, ting. Right? So here I just said, like, I have no problems with silicone products. So without even thinking, I couldn't stop myself. I said, well, you know what I mean. Yes. Oh, thank you. Well, first of all, when you're offered a role like that, again, no audition. I just got a call from the creature effects people who had referred me to 20th Century Fox, who was producing that movie, and they were like, great, get him. Are you kidding me? And this is before the Marvel movies had become what they are now, too. So I was like, we were at the beginning cusp of all this. I'm like, ah. So I had to go back. I went to, because I knew it was such a beloved character in a source material that I was not as familiar with. I went to a comic book store. That was my first stop, was to go to a comic book store. And I talked to the wacky kid behind the counter. There's always a wacky kid behind the counter. And I said, okay, Silver Surfer, give me what you got on him. He said, oh, you're gonna love this. So he gave me 2 big volumes, the anthologies of the Fantastic Four, where he was introduced, and then the Silver Surfer standalone. So I had volumes of So it was the Stan Lee writing. The way he wrote that character was so beautiful, and Jack Kirby's artwork so beautiful. To find those poses, to find that posture, that confidence, and to move. So that my job was then to create movement that would connect those beautiful poses in some way. So we had a great time with that, and what an honor that was. And finally, I met Stan Lee. Then after I filmed the movie, after it came out in theaters, I met him, and they asked me to present him with a Lifetime Achievement Award at a film festival. So I'm like, yes. So anyway, yeah. So when I met him, he told me that Silver Surfer was his favorite character that he ever wrote for. I asked him, I know, right? So I asked him why. And he said, the Surfer was the character that he could wax poetic about society, about the world, about humanity, and what we're doing to ourselves, to each other, to our world, and from an outsider's point of view. And so he could get very poetic with the Surfer, and that's why so I was like, I never forgot those words and his gentle way. He's such a beautiful gentleman. I loved him dearly. He's sorely missed now. Yeah, so thank you for asking me. Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question about Star Trek Discovery. What was your reaction when you found out about Saru's metamorphosis, and how did you mentally prepare for the change in his character?
Thank you for asking. Wow. So first of all, Star Trek Discovery. Thank you for the claps. That was lovely. First of all, when you take on a character in the Star Trek universe, you're walking into a legacy of a franchise, deep history, right? So the gravity of that is not lost on me, right? So being offered a character, again, no audition. Can you imagine that? Right, I was working on The Shape of Water, and during the middle of that production, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know how much more rubber I can wear in my lifetime. I'm getting old and tired, right? Doug, this is your manager, Bruce. Okay, so production office from Star Trek Discovery wants to have a meeting with you. Are you okay with that? Okay, game back on. So I met with Brian Fuller at the time. He was our first showrunner. And it turns out the creature effects guys, Neville Page and Glenn Hetrick, had created the look of Saru. And they knew me and worked with me before. And I also guested on their show Face Off a couple times. So they created Saru with me in mind. And they presented that to Brian Fuller. He was like, can we get him? Because it turns out Brian Fuller was a fan of mine. Shut up! So I went and met with them, and so I didn't have to tap dance for them at all. In fact, if anything, they were tap dancing for me, hoping I would say yes. Can you play? No, this is surreal. Yeah. So I took the role of Saru, and it was explained to me that he was, first of all, it was great to take on a character that had never been seen in Star Trek before. I had no one else's brilliant performance to live up to. I could just start my own hack job and hope it would play. But to develop a Kelpian from the ground up was just a great honor for me, and the writers gave me so much to work with. One of those things was that I was a prey species on my home planet, and that I lived in fear all my days, right? So that was a part of my ecosystem, was like always looking over my shoulder, always being aware of threat, ganglia included, right? So season 2 comes, and I didn't know that episode was coming where my ganglia would fall out and I would be fearless from now on. Like, what? They didn't warn me that was coming, so I just had to do a quick gear change and now find a new courage, a new confidence that Saru has never had before. So that's been, as an actor, it was what a treat to be able to shift gears. And so I have not gotten tired of Saru. I have not gotten bored with Saru because they keep surprising me with Saru. So it's been a real honor. And now that we've jumped ahead to the future, I suppose you haven't caught up with the show yet. End of season 2 is quite a what? So season 3 starts filming in a few weeks in Toronto. So we will see what's ahead for Saru. I know a little bit, but I cannot share any of that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi, Mr. Jones. First of all, I want to say thank you for coming to Niagara Falls. I'm pretty sure everyone's very excited to see you. You might be able to tell. Friends and I have discussed for a long time that with you mentioned the MCU and kind of the superhero renaissance we're having. First of all, we discussed that we think it would be a fantastic cast as to be the first Clayface to ever appear in live action. Don't know, but the question is there a fictional character or a character from any sort of media, books, television that you've always wanted to depict, and which one would be in mind?
Well, I have an answer for that, and I also have a follow-up to that. I have always, now I've played vampires, I've played a few vampires now, because I did 6 episodes of The Strain, TV series, also shot in Toronto, I might add. And I also got to play Baron Athanas in What We Do in the Shadows, most recently. So I've done vampires, but there was one classic one I wanted to play, and that was Nosferatu. Well, it turns out we got to film that, and it comes out later this year, hopefully. So. It is the 1922 version that was a silent film. We made the same movie as a talkie with sound. So that means scene for scene, it's the same story exactly. So it's not a reboot, it's not a reimagining, it's that story again with new actors and with sound and dialogue. But the dialogue matches what you saw in the silent movie. It's not like a reimagination of it. So it's really very pure to the original story. And every shot of our movie has a green screen element to it. Whether we had door frames, we had props and furniture, but the environment that I'm in is from the original 1922 film. So they're gonna lay that in post-production. So I got to play in the same world that Max Schreck got to play in Count Orlok. So I'm very, very excited about this. Yeah, so thank you.
Well, about 5 minutes left and 3 people, so we can do a speed round.
Speed round.
Do a little bit of a, get everybody in. Okay, so go ahead.
So, all of your, well not all of them, most of your characters have incredibly expressive hands. and even you talk with like...
I can't talk without them, yes.
I just want to know, is that something that you picked up as a kid from watching someone or in school? Like, I gotta know the origin of Doug Jones' hands.
Right. I will tell you quickly, I'm a very insecure child, even to this day. So when I talk, if I can get your attention out here and I can make my point, then maybe you'll hear me. That's why when I played the Silver Surfer, it was so hard for me to throttle back and stand still and know that my stillness was enough. You know what I mean? Even now, I can't explain it without using my hands. Yeah, so it's just from insecurity, believe it or not. But thank you.
No, thank you.
Hey there, Shorty.
Can I do this? Okay, yes. So, with all of you, well, dressed up as and everything, is there any like designs that you had like a hand in being able to like advise them or being able to be like, like this?
Right. Not so much because, and I don't want to spoil the soup with my ideas if the soup already tastes good. Do you know what I mean? And the best artists in the world have worked on me. So I don't want to be like, you know what would be better is if it was in orange. I could have ruined many characters with my ideas. So, but when it comes to comfort or performability, that's when I'll have an opinion. So Saru from Star Trek Discovery originally was designed with finger extensions out to here, very long, spindly fingers. When I saw the design, I said, oh dear. Because, you know, Star Trek, how many gadgets do we hold? How many phasers and tricorders and displays and buttons and levers? this is going to be a long 6 years if I have these finger extensions. So I just begged them to do something more usable. I said, well, anytime you want me to use a prop, I'm going to have to hand it off to somebody else to use for me in the story. So if you want to keep your writing possibilities more open, you might want to give me shorter fingers. So they did. Yeah. So that's one example of how that works. Yeah. So thank you so much for asking.
Cool. Quick follow-up before your last question. I know you've been involved in this industry for so many years, and you've seen the techniques and the advancements in technology. What is the longest time you've actually spent in the makeup chair getting a makeup done?
Right. Well, the longest time would be about 7 hours a day. For the first Hellboy movie, I had 12 different prosthetic pieces from head to toe that were glued to me. But you saw me shirtless, which is my shorts on. A lot of bluefish guided to show. So those 12 prosthetic pieces had to blend in with my own shaved skin, and that would be airbrushing, and so it took a village to make that happen in 7 hours. But a more elaborate makeup would have been the one from The Shape of Water, right? That fish man, but that went on in 3 hours because pre-painting, pre-sculpting, pre-molding, and it was more of a suit. It slipped on and less glued down to me. This part was glued on, and the rest was slipped on and buckled in and zipped up and velcroed. So it depends on, most of the artistry is done ahead of time at the creature shop. They do all the molding and sculpting and pre-painting. And getting it onto me is the last step. But that last step can be 7 hours, or it can be an hour and a half for Saru on Star Trek, which is mercifully short for an ongoing TV series, trust me.
Wow, you are a trooper, sir.
Oh, bless you.
All right, last question. Go ahead. What do you got?
Right. Well, your last answer was pretty corollary to my question. As a costume designer and a makeup artist, if you have things to suggest to those particular departments, what are the things that, short of putting you in jeans and t-shirt and no makeup, what are the things that would make an actor more functional, more comfortable, more able to design something that makes your job easier?
Oh, right. Well, because sometimes the look of an outfit or a makeup has to be so specific that maybe we do have to sacrifice some comfort. And I sacrifice comfort all the time. Right. But when you look in the mirror and go, oh, that's why. And you look at the finished product and go, yeah, it was totally worth the pain and struggle that I went through. So it just depends. And a lot of actors, though, are not as easy to work with. Maybe, perhaps, you'll have to deal with a lot of divas, unfortunately. Like, does this have to poke there? Ew, that's not a good color on me. No, or whatever, right? So basically, listen. In your departments, working with actors, you have to also be a bit of a psychologist, a bit of a nurse sometimes, because you have to hold our hands and make us feel good.
It's longer, I swear.
Exactly. So so just stay present with the emotional needs, and then the creativity, and that the art will come out of that, hopefully.
Yeah.
But did you make this?
Yes.
Beautiful salute, girl. Yeah, I love it.
Amazing.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you. Well, they say to not be your heroes, because a lot of times you just have to make that down, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. If your hero is Doug Jones, you gotta meet Doug Jones. Doug Jones, you are always an amazing person.